It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be a wonderful wife. Ever heard that before? That's opening line of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, who basically wrote the story of the Bennet sisters and focusing on Elizabeth Bennet, also Lizzie, and her relationship, will they, won't they, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I love you, with Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. Fantastic book by Jane Austen, happy endings, and yeah. So, there are 5 Bennet sisters. Now, Pride and Prejudice only focuses really on Lizzie, Elizabeth, is her point of view, and she has, obviously, 4 sisters. Now, let's go into the ones that she really cared about, and that was Jane. Her and Jane getting on with Mr. Bingley. Yeah, the 3 others were totally ignored. Now, those would be Mary, who essentially is pretty much life's bitch of the Bennet sisters, the middle child who no one likes. Essentially, in the family structure, the elder 2, okay, Elizabeth is her father's favourite because she's intelligent. Jane is her mother's favourite because she's so beautiful. The younger 2, Kitty and Lydia, they're just funny and frivolous, and they just, you know, they're wild. And poor Mary is, she's not talented nor beautiful. She's just literally stuck in the middle. So, yeah. This story takes up Kitty's point of view. It's written in diary form, and it is really, really interesting because this runs parallel to the original Pride and Prejudice, which means, obviously, Jane, Bingley, Darcy, they all get mentions, but this is from Lydia's point of view. Now, Lydia, who, I'm going to spoil Pride and Prejudice here, runs off to Brighton with the militia, sees the militia, hooks up with George Wickham. It wasn't marrying George Wickham, and to save her reputation because they run away together. This elaborates the reason why, and I love this book because A, it's original, and you're trying to get into the psyche of a 15-year-old girl who's way out of her depth. She wants, even at the age of 15, she wants love and freedom and happiness, and it's just her convoluted way of kind of getting it. The style it's written in is, okay, very similar to Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I am going just to read out the opening blurb here, okay? Hertfordshire, 1811. But really decades behind the civilised world because we are in the depths of the English countryside where nothing ever happens. That was 1811, but that could be any point for a teenage girl in human history. Here you go. Even the way it opens, absolutely love. Thursday, the 13th of June. It's Lydia's birthday. I am 15 years old today, and this journal was a present from Mary. She says I must write in it every day to improve my mind. Whatever for, Mama said when she is so pretty. Father asked, are we certain Lydia has a mind? Of course she does, Mary said. It's just not that very developed. Excuse me, I tried to look down my nose at her, which was not easy because I was sitting and she was standing. Right now my undeveloped mind thinks you're extremely rude. That one opening paragraph says everything you need to know about the mentality of the world that Lydia Bennet inhabits and the way people see her. Her mother just basically, it doesn't matter if she has a mind because she's beautiful, as obviously Mother Bennet used to be. That's why her husband actually married her. And they kind of fell apart because they kind of grew out of each other, but hey, they're still married and had 5 kids. And the father is dismissive of her. So poor Lydia, the youngest child, her own father sees her as stupid. That says everything. She has no relationship with her parents. Her mother just sees her for her looks, and her father doesn't see her at all. So, in this book, she's portrayed as wild and impetuous, but she is a very, very normal teenage girl, in a way. There's one bit I absolutely love where she wishes to learn to swim, and she mentions how she tried to swim in a stream when she was young and almost drowned, and it left her with a slight fear of the water. And she thinks when she goes to Brighton and actually learns to swim, and I like the description of the Georgian period about how women, I love this, women essentially got in these like, got in like these carriages, then went down to the sea, and then it got changed to preserve their modesty. And then it got in the water that way. Okay, so literally horse-drawn carriages in the water to preserve women's modesty. And swimming suits were like very, very long. You've seen them all in films. Yeah, I just thought it was a nice touch where even though she wishes to learn to swim, and she does, it's actually quite good, she is absolutely terrified of it. It's just a nice realistic example of this child, 15 years old, trying to fit in this world. And there's a bit where she meets this count, okay, and some bits of regarding the French Revolution, which was slightly period to this. And it is this kind of like a fantasy she's kind of constructed for herself, where as a reader looking into it, you can see what is really happening, but she's only a child. She wants love and happiness, but the realism of her social structure, her lack of money, they are always, always going to kind of drag her down. And that brings Wickham into this. Now, George Wickham, who, if you know, never actually read Pride and Prejudice, he's essentially the villain of the piece who marries Kitty and then destroys her reputation. And that's not a spoiler, the book's been out for like 200 years. Right. In this, it's elaborating on the reason why. And the thing is, George Wickham, once again, we only see George Wickham through Elizabeth Bennet's eyes and obviously Darcy's. Now, one thing I love is when contemporary fiction kind of changes it slightly. There's a really, really good TV show that was done several years ago called Lost in Austin, where a modern day girl, Amanda, sort of places with Elizabeth Bennet and goes through the story and makes some changes, some good, some bad. Now, one thing I absolutely loved, okay, was how they betrayed George Wickham, because it probably wasn't intentional, but obviously Amanda's hooking up with Darcy, but her chemistry with George Wickham, played by an actor, I've got his details down here, called Tom Riley, was off the charts. You know, you watch something and you know where she has to get with Darcy, but you wish she got with Wickham, because Wickham was superb, you know. And the whole idea of Darcy trying to ruin Darcy's sister, Wickham trying to ruin Darcy's sister, totally changed. Basically, Wickham preserved her reputation to ruination of his own. That's a long sentence. Kind of similar here, because what Lydia Bennet craves is freedom. She wants to be happy. She wants to be free. She's obviously a teenager born out of her time period, and the thing is this. Now, this is not mentioned in the book, but Mr. Collins is in this, and Mr. Collins gets with Charlotte Lucas, okay, in the original Pride and Prejudice. There was a thing where it's, actually, I like about this book, it kind of dresses Mary's character a little bit. Mary doesn't want much. She wants to be happy, but she wants to be settled and stay in Hertfordshire and just have just a nice, simple life. It was mentioned by Jane Austen to one of her siblings that after the book of Pride, I'm going to put this book down, after Pride and Prejudice, May Bennet actually got with one of her, father's law clerks, that kind of thing, and so she actually had a happy life. But, yeah, so it kind of really, really elaborates on Mary's character a lot, which I really appreciated. And it really kind of goes into depth more about her character, which her own sister in Pride and Prejudice didn't go into. So I liked her. Basically, May wanted to marry Mr. Collins, which, here you go, the Mormon version of Pride and Prejudice is a Mormon version of Pride and Prejudice. Actually addresses that quite well. Okay? So, this book I really, really enjoyed. It moves so well, a really fast pace, and it's just kind of elaborating on the background of Hertfordshire. You know, the things for the older ones, they were a bit more of a rigid social system to distract them because of their age. They were meant to act as ladies do, you know. But with Lydia being only a teenager, only 15, she could get away with a little bit more because of her age, and she so takes advantage of that. I mean, what she did to Kitty to actually get to Brighton, I thought, well done, love. Cool, but justified because he did it so well. So, regarding Lydia Bennet, regarding fiction or continuations of Pride and Prejudice, they've always been a very, very dismissive of her. You know, Wickham turns out to be a drunk in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies as a title. Wickham basically is bitten, and Lydia had to spend her entire life taking care of a somewhere in between a zombie and a human. So, with this, George Wickham, he is a cad, but he is also a realist. He presents himself to Lydia quite well, and I'll give him he never actually lies to her. He is very much a realist, and what he offers her isn't just marriage, it's something else, which women of the time period didn't normally have that option, but she managed to achieve it. So, the thing with the Count and Countess, okay, of which Theo Thea was the girl, a dressmaker, okay. Essentially meet, and this is the plot here. While swimming, Lydia meets Theo, and is it Aldrich? Theodora, okay. Here you go. Here's a title. The Comte Ulrich de Fonnebel Ax Javert admires me tremendously. He kissed me while we as good as engaged, waiting till I tell my sisters. That says everything. She meets this Count Ulrich, and I'll say Ulrich or whatever, and her sister Thea, who's a dressmaker, which should kind of give you a hint to their social situation at the time. And you could argue that he kind of plays her along in a way, but at the same time, he's kind of what's presented as a sympathetic character, and it's kind of like Lydia is so desperate to get what she wants. She's willing to overlook the absolute reality of everyone's situation. Once again, impetuous, but realistic. So, I really, really enjoyed this book. I love continuations of Pride and Prejudice. And obviously, the book has been in the public domain for a very long time, so it was anyone's game. So, I enjoyed this book. It is well written, it moves quickly, nice prose style. And one thing I love, it does contain dialogue for the time period, for the Georgian time period that the original book was written in. But it kind of modernised it slightly, but not too obviously. So it's an easy read, if you know what I mean. So this book, by Natasha Farrant, I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the descriptions. I like the way she describes the colours. I like the way she describes Lydia. And one thing I would love to do is, if she's going to take all the Bennet sisters, okay, obviously there's 5 of them, I want Mary's story, and Kitty's too, because in the Pride and Prejudice kind of list, they've always been overlooked. So there's 2 more, so yes, yeah, get to Elizabeth and Jane last, okay? Besides, Jane's boring. She's beautiful and she gets with Bingley. What a spoiler. There you go. So, enjoy this book. Thanks for watching this, and sign off and take care. Bye now.